Midnight light on a dim-lit screen, clicking through stories you wouldn't believe. Cold case trails and courtroom scenes, whispers from the grave and media dreams. Truth is stranger, hearts beat faster in the shadows of a news disaster. Scrolling deep where secrets hide, found the stories time won't deny. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery side by side. From backwoods crimes to breaking news lines, you shine a light where the silence lies. Oh, headstones and headlines, your tales collide. Justice and mystery side by side. From backwoods crimes to breaking news lines, you shine a light where the silence lies. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Small town rumors and urban fear, a voice for the lost who can't speak here. Through every name, through every case, you hold the truth in a steady place. Cameras roll but justice lingers, truth unravels through careful fingers. You tell the stories, speak their names in a world that's quick to look away. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery side by side. From missing files to late night trials, you trace the echoes through every mile. Oh, headstones and headlines, your tales collide. Justice and mystery side by side. From missing files to late night trials, you trace the echoes through every mile. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Someone from the dark, you walk right in with a question and a camera lens. It's not just a crime, it's the lives they live. The voice is still talking from the books unread. Headstones and headlines, the veil is thin. Truth gets louder when you begin. With every view, every line, bring the forgotten back to life. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Yeah, headstones and headlines, you tell the stories that time can't hide.
Hey everyone. Today's Tuesday, right? Oh my gosh. I take a day off. Yeah, it is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Thanks so much for being here. I apologize for the late time change. I was eating dinner and I went to, set up for this live stream because I thought I had scheduled it for 7 and I see 6:30 and it's 6:28 and I was like, oh, wow. Okay, I'm not going to be ready by then. So I just changed it to 6:45 because it was halfway between. So I guess I'm so used to going live at 7. And now that I have the 2 kittens that I'm fostering that I got last week. And then we were able to get the feral kitten at my parents' house. The poor thing just cries, so scared. But I go in and sit with him or her and they will be friendly sooner than later. So I thank you all for being patient with me. I did see, let's see, Steph was the first one here. Marie, Cheese, good to see you. Hey, Summer, I hope you're doing well. London Girl, and anyone who may be in the bushes. Doesn't look like there's very many of us here, so I do appreciate you. This, I will say, I knew a little bit about Andrew and Tristan Tate, but not as much as I thought. Like, I thought I knew them, you know, decent. But I was reading today, watching. I have a bunch of stuff in my watch later that I want to get to. These, well, I mean, they're both dirtbags, but Andrew specifically seems to be the one in charge, the one who ran what they consider a manosphere. Watching some of his interviews that he's done and things that he said, I mean, this guy is not a good person at all. And it also doesn't surprise me that President Trump, Elon Musk, Barron Trump, Don Jr., they're all besties with the Tate brothers. It is, I mean, I'm not political and I don't get too far into politics, but it's interesting to know that President Trump is the reason the brothers were released from custody in Romania. Yet they're being arrested here in the States. It's very strange. It's very strange, but it is good that they're behind bars because that's where they belong. London Girl said, I've been watching a quick video on them. I've actually found there's a few, just based on articles I've read. They've talked about different interviews. There's one that I started reading from the New Yorker that is actually it's the author of the article is in one of the clips that I have for tonight. And 60 Minutes did a entire episode on Andrew Tate. So a lot of it is about Andrew, not so much Tristan. And I know there are men and women who think like them, specifically men because they're men. It's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. She says, do I look fat acting like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Hey, Patty, thanks for being here. All right, so we're going to get started. This shouldn't be an entirely too long live stream at that. So I didn't even share. I mean, I am so, like, I really am losing my mind. Actually, let me get on a different screen. 1 second. So we're going to go on this screen. Share. All right. So we're going to start with a video, and then I do have a few articles that I'm going to read as well. So let's get started. I did have a short that I posted yesterday of the lawyer for the Tate brothers, and he is quite a character himself, I must say. It looks like he belongs in a Pitbull video, but I digress.
Tonight, British authorities are seeking the extradition of Andrew and Tristan Tate. The prominent influencers in the so-called manosphere were arrested by federal marshals in Miami. CBS's Christian Benavidez is there with details on the new charges. Christian.
Good evening, Jerika. The Tate brothers were taken into custody as they were heading to a boxing event that one of them was set to co-host here in Miami. They've indicated that they're likely going to fight those extradition charges back to the United Kingdom.
U.S. Marshals arrested notorious social media influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate in Miami on Saturday, stemming from recent developments in the UK. Authorities there who already had a case against the duo, say 4 more alleged victims of the brothers came forward with accusations of rape, sex trafficking, assault, child, and extreme pornography.
Which is, I mean, the fact that they're denying this, I mean, I would assume that if they are charging them with these crimes, specifically the images, they must have proof that they've done that. Digital footprints are a thing, and the fact that they had done the same thing in Romania, I mean, why wouldn't they do it in other places? They are from the UK. Oh, I didn't get the joke. Probably not. They have dual American UK citizenship. However, they moved their enterprise to Romania, where, you know, and this is, I mean, I know there's people like this, but it just disturbs me so much. They would fake love interest in different women and, you know, get them to, I don't know, fall in love, whatever. They would then bring them, they would, you know, convince them to go to Romania, at which time they would take their passports and they would then prostitute them out. I mean, I don't understand how someone can think like that. But then again, look at Jeffrey Epstein. In everything that I looked at today, I could not find a connection between the Tate brothers and Jeffrey Epstein. However, I did find a connection of President Trump with both Epstein and the Tate brothers. So, very interesting. Yeah, they were born in the US. And actually, let me read. I did write down notes about their parents, because I was just curious. Like, I wonder what their parents, like, I wonder what they would think about their children being, you know, charged with these crimes. Their father, who passed away in 2015, was an African-American U.S. Air Force veteran and a highly decorated international master of chess, which is pretty cool. Their mom is a white English woman who worked as a catering assistant and raised her children in the UK following the parents' divorce. Their parents' divorce, I should say. So, oh, and actually some of these, oh, and it goes on to say, I didn't see this part, but when Emery Tate passed away, who is the Tate brothers' dad, Andrew did not go to his father's funeral. And he explained that he had just relocated to Romania and had invested all his money into a new business venture. As the oldest male in the family, he felt responsible for providing his mother and siblings. He decided to prioritize securing financial stability over the time and expense of flying back to America for the service. A new business venture in which he human trafficked women and girls. Stand-up guy right there. Stand-up guy.
The total number of charges faced to 59. The charges relate to 7 victims spanning a period from 2010 to 2017.
The men are part of the so-called manosphere, boasting millions of followers and selling online courses on masculinity.
And, okay, so actually, let me just back up because I want to read some of what are on these slides that they're showing. So, this one says, I utterly disapprove of violence within romantic or familial relationships. Okay.
Boasting
I support good and honest governments and will obey only their laws.
millions of followers and selling online.
I prefer to only conduct business dealings with trusted and vetted brothers.
Online courses on masculinity.
I believe that a man has the sacred duty to hold true to his word and do exactly what he says he will do. That all seems great. right? I mean, those are all philosophies that we should all live by.
In 2022, the Tate brothers were arrested in Romania on rape, human trafficking, and sexual exploitation charges. The case did not go to trial but remains open.
So they were being held. They spent 3 months in prison, prison in Romania. They were then released on house arrest. Well, very recently, the Trump administration worked with the Romanian government. So let me back up. So the Romanian government had a travel ban isn't the right word. I can't remember what they had said in the article, but they had a travel ban. So the Tate brothers could not leave Romania. Well, the Trump administration and the Romanian government made a deal that would allow the Tate brothers to leave Romania. So they did. So, yeah. Nope, they never tried them because the Trump administration made a deal with them. Yep. Which is interesting. And so that's why in my thumbnail I had said, is President Trump going to intervene? Because all of the men in the Trump family, I'm not sure about Eric, but I know, Barron and Don Jr., along with President Trump, are very, I don't want to say friends, but they admire the Tate brothers. So it's interesting that they were arrested here when President Trump is the one who bargained for their release to be able to leave Romania. The warrant now is from Great Britain, yes. I agree, Marie. They need to. And I mean, we're going to watch the press conference. So I only took bits and pieces out of it for my short. But I mean, the lawyer, his name is McBride. What was his first name? Joseph McBride. He also represented many of the January 6th people who, is it insurrectionists, who stormed? Yeah. So.
Last year, the brothers left Romania for Florida, and state officials announced a probe into their activity. The Tate brothers deny all allegations. Their attorney tells CBS News the world knows Andrew and Tristan Tate are innocent.
We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever.
The Tate brothers.
Yeah, because they haven't been ever, because they have really powerful people who are covering for them, allowing them to just move around, doing these shady deals. I mean, it's gross.
Are set to face a judge as early as tomorrow. Legal experts have said that this will likely be a lengthy legal battle over extradition. Jerika?
Christian Benavides in Miami, thank you.
The good news is I didn't think that this would happen because we had talked about it a little bit on my last live. I thought they would probably be released, but the federal judge said that they both can remain in prison for at least now. All right, so we'll go to, and I do have an article we'll get to about specifically Andrew Tate. Are you kidding? I was able to read this earlier. Now it's telling me that I have to subscribe. Are you kidding? I might just have to do it. All right. So the next clip is the press conference. So this was the press conference that the lawyer did outside of the courthouse after their hearing. And while this is playing, I'm going to subscribe to the New Yorker because I really want to read this article.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today went as expected. There was never going to be any fireworks today. Today wasn't about controversy. Today was about just enforcing Mr. Tate's, Andrew and Tristan Tate's rights and objecting to the extradition process. We are, of course, objecting to extradition because Andrew and Tristan are innocent. They've never done nothing wrong. They shouldn't be extradited for crimes they did not commit. They're entitled to have their day of court that we've been litigating the case for 3 years in Palm Beach County in Florida. So we're fighting extradition. We've assembled a team here. These are from the Roy Black's prestigious firm, the Honorable and since passed on Roy Black. He's a legend, and they're here. They have joined our team. We have a competent team. We have a wonderful team. We're looking forward to getting the best possible result under the sun. Proceedings have now started in this courtroom, so I am less liberal with what I'm able to say. But if you have any questions for me, I'll do my best to answer them in a way that's respectful of your time, of our time, and of the court processes.
Before we acknowledge that the brothers,
Go ahead.
Acknowledging in court that the brothers reviewed the complaint with them, could you explain their first reaction to these allegations?
The allegations, their first reaction to the allegations is the first reaction that any innocent man or woman would have. It's garbage. It's a stitch-up job. They're after us to punish us with the process. The process is the punishment. When you drag somebody's name through the media, when you slander them, when you defame them, when you accuse them of heinous and terrible allegations, the process becomes the punishment until you can clear your name. They've been clearing their names domestically and abroad for years. This is just the next logical conclusion in that situation. Keir Starmer just retired or is retiring. I'm sure he's mad that Andrew and Tristan Tate had a lot to do with his fall in Great Britain. And there's a new guy in there right now. But this is the last vestige of attack of a prime minister who didn't do a good job. And he continues to do bad work. And I'll just leave it there. Innocent until proven guilty. We're going to let the court process play out here the way that it should. We're happy to be here.
Mr. McBride, the U.S.-UK treaty allows an exception for extradition if the charges are politically motivated.
Right. Politically motivated? I think any one of these trees or any one of these rocks could answer that question. Yes, it's politically motivated. There's no question about it. These guys went to D.C. to exercise their First Amendment rights. They met with members of Congress as private citizens. They met with friends in Washington, D.C. They walked the grounds of the Capitol, and 3 days later, they're in the jumpsuit. You do the math.
And that's the tool that you're going to use to get them free.
We have many tools. One of the ways that we'll argue, I'm not going to give away our entire arguments here, but we're certainly going to say that there are special circumstances. We're certainly going to use a totality of the circumstances argument, and that will be one of the things that we argue for certain. Yes, sir.
If the legal process goes towards extradition, it will be up to the Trump administration and the Secretary of State to decide to sign up on extradition. What do you believe the administration is seeing about this stuff?
Well, I appreciate your question. I see where you're going with it. You're fast voting for the end of the process. What's important to do now is focus on what's here and now, what's before us. Well, we have to go in there. We have a conference coming up in a few days. We're going to set a briefing schedule. We'll make our arguments before the court. We'll see what this judge does. I don't want to make political statements about the administration when right now that's the executive branch and we're here in front of the judicial branch. And I want to be mindful and respectful of the people that we're in front of here.
Okay, and Cheese, I did see your question. So there is a full list of their charges. So currently, the Crown Prosecution Service wants both brothers extradited over a combined 59 criminal charges involving 7 alleged victims. Andrew Tate faces 42 charges in all. The original 10 charges comprise 3 counts of rape, 4 counts of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, 2 counts of human trafficking, and 1 count of controlling prostitution for gain. The newly announced 32 charges comprise 7 further counts of rape, 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, 3 further counts of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and 19 offenses relating to indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. Tristan Tate faces 17 charges in total. The original 11 comprised 3 counts of rape, 6 counts of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and 2 counts of human trafficking. The additional 6 comprised 2 further counts of rape, 1 count of sexual assault, and 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation. Yeah, sick. London Girl says, from the vid I saw, there were complaints to the police from 2015 and they were ignored, so it's historic. And speaking of, let's see. Oh, and actually, let me read on. So the additional alleged offenses occurred between July 2010 and August 2017. Both men deny the allegations, and the charges still have to be tested in court. That legal presumption matters, but it does not magically erase the charges or turn every prosecutor into part of an imaginary, quote, matrix. Andrew also faces a separate British civil claim from 4 women who accuse him of rape, physical abuse, and coercive control. He denies those allegations. In another civil case, a British court allowed police to seize almost £2.7 million from the brothers and an associate after finding that tax had not been paid on approximately £21 million in revenue generated through their online business. Both brothers were indicted in Romania in 2023 over allegations that they formed an organized criminal group and trafficked women for sexual exploitation. Andrew was also charged with rape. Prosecutors said the alleged victims were recruited through false promises of relationships before being controlled and forced to produce pornographic material. In December 2024, a Romanian appeals court returned that case to prosecutors because of procedural and evidentiary defects. Tate supporters constantly described this as an acquittal. It was not. The court did not find them innocent. It found that the prosecution file could not proceed to trial in its existing form. A broader Romanian investigation involving the brothers and several other suspects has examined alleged participation in an organized criminal group, human trafficking, trafficking of minors, sexual intercourse with a minor, and money laundering. In May 2026, prosecutors expanded the investigation into Andrew Tate to include alleged incitement to hatred or discrimination against women based on public statements made between 2021 and 2024. Romanian reporting on a further DIICOT expansion in July 2026 also described allegations involving witness influence, the removal of assets from seizure, and complicity in trafficking minors. These investigations remain ongoing and have not produced final convictions. And then that leads us to current. The Miami arrest is not a newly announced American prosecution for sexual offenses. U.S. Marshals arrested the brothers on behalf of Britain so that extradition proceedings can begin. Florida, nevertheless, opened its own criminal investigation after the brothers entered the state in 2025. The Florida Attorney General announced that subpoenas and search warrants had been issued, although and then this is the person who wrote it. I could not find any publicly announced Florida indictment as of July 19th, 2026. Andrew Tate is also being sued in California by a former girlfriend who alleges that he sexually assaulted, beat, and strangled her at the Beverly Hills Hotel. That is a civil case, not a criminal conviction, and Tate denies the allegations. It gets into crypto, and that's where I don't really understand the crypto, but there was something about if you paid him 50 crypto at a time. I don't know. That's like above my, I don't understand all that. Hey, Nanny Sharon, thanks for being here. She says, lucky for them, they won't go to a California prison. Oh, and actually, I'll just read this. So this has to do with the crypto. So it says, the documented promotion pattern is exactly the kind of influencer-driven extraction Web3 has spent years pretending not to recognize. One example is $Daddy. Approximately 40% of the supply was transferred to Andrew Tate's public wallet. He promised not to sell it and later promoted a supposed burn worth more than $100 million, although the token reportedly had only around $2.5 million in real liquidity. 11 wallets funded through Binance that purchased large positions immediately before Tate publicly promoted the token. The wallets bought at nearly identical times and in similar amounts, strongly suggesting coordinated control. 2 further clusters accumulated roughly 10% of the supply before the promotion. The token's developer had extracted more than $400,000 through sales. Okay, and then it gets, I don't understand all that. Okay, so I don't understand like the crypto stuff. Nope. All right, so let's get back to this press conference. And like I said, this lawyer, his name is Joseph McBride. I think that he looks like he needs to be in a Pitbull video. To me, he seems very cocky, arrogant, but he's doing his job. So, I mean, I guess it is what it is.
I believe that my clients have support from every person who's a reasonably minded person, whether they're in the United States or abroad, elected or not elected. Everybody knows that Andrew and Tristan Tate are innocent.
See, and I think that is very misleading. Not everyone, and the fact that it's almost like insulting, because he said any like normal-minded person would know that they're innocent. Like, no. Like, people can think differently and still not be simple-minded. Yeah, Cheese, to me, that's what it sounded like, but I can't understand. It's like, so it's above my head. I don't understand all that.
Yes. It's okay.
It looks like you're positioning the charges within the framework of being politically motivated, but the charges themselves, some don't seem to have an intersection.
Oh, and I'll rewind it a little bit, but I also wanted to point out, so this one lawyer here, it must be very hot where they're at, which I guess I would assume Miami is hot. It's summer. But this guy comes over and gives this lawyer something to wipe his face with. And I just thought that was very interesting, that he had someone come over, give him a cloth or something to wipe his face, and then he comes back. All right, I'll just rewind it a little bit.
Being politically motivated, but the charges themselves, some don't seem to have an intersection with politics. Can you flesh out a little bit more why you're positioning it?
Sure, you don't have to have an intersection between politics and criminal charges for there to be a stitch-up job here. The man that I voted for office, who's currently in office, had millions of charges slandered against him all over the place. Some of them he beat, some of them he didn't beat.
He was found guilty, sir. He had, I mean, and just the language he uses, like, you know, the man voted into office had charges slandered against him. No, he was found guilty, sir. Like, just so arrogant.
Most people who understand the process know that that was a load of crap. Most people who see this for what it is know that it is the same exact thing. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Women who claim that they were victims of the case. Are you saying that those women are politically motivated?
I'm not going to comment as to the women in any case. What I can say is that we have a defamation lawsuit against a false accuser that we're litigating successfully in Palm Beach County. That case is getting ready to go to trial. What I can say about the allegations in the United Kingdom, not a single solitary person has been identified. These are ghosts and these are phantoms. So we like.
And here's the thing. This is another thing that I don't like about this lawyer. They are trying to get the identities of the women who are making these accusations. They want to know who these women are. And I don't think they should know. I mean, they may have to face them in court, but they want them to be publicly identified. Why? So they can harass them, intimidate them? No. He's Soprano-esque. Yeah, he is. He does look like he belongs in The Sopranos.
like to know who's accused Andrew and Tristan of what, and if we get there, then I can give you a reasonable-minded and intelligent comment about the potential allegations that come from these ladies.
One last point of clarification. In the interview this morning, I listened to, you talked about your efforts of kind of forecasting how you plan to fight this if it doesn't go your way, and you said, I will appeal all the way to the top of the food chain. Was that a reference to the president?
That was a reference to the Supreme Court. This is the judicial process. The top of the food chain is Clarence Thomas and the 8 other justices that abide there.
So, McBride, I missed that beginning. What was their initial reaction when they were picked up?
Their initial reaction was, "What's going on?" We've been, in the United States, hanging out on multiple trips for a very long time. We haven't been accused of anything of substance here. We're American citizens. We operate freely. We operate as law-abiding people. We went to see our Congress people in D.C., and now we're getting arrested. This feels political. And they, of course, they.
And I mean, blaming it on politics, I mean, to me, I mean, maybe it is politically motivated, yet at the same time, they met with Congress and other, government officials. It's almost like it was to create this image of themselves that they really weren't. It just, I mean, yeah, or erase them.
Didn't like it. No innocent man likes getting taken to jail. It's a horrible situation. But we're going to do everything that we can do with this wonderful team that we've assembled here to get them out. Rob, we're trying to figure that out right now. Andrew and Tristan are citizens of the world. I think it's on public record that they've been in between Dubai and Romania for some years. We will sort the rest of that out in due course.
Just for clarity purposes, the judge mentioned that this wasn't a criminal proceeding, but the extradition process hasn't begun. Where are we now, just legally? Clarity.
So, yeah, this is not a criminal proceeding. And what the judge was talking about is that the Bail Reform Act isn't the operative law here. We're looking at the extradition process. This is the first small step in that process. There's a lawyers-only conference coming up in a few days. Our legal team will talk to the government. The government will talk to our team. We'll converse with the judge. We'll set a briefing schedule for substantive arguments to be made at some point in the future.
You also posted on X about solitary confinement. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, solitary confinement is torture. When you look at the international law on it, the Nelson Mandela rules, the Geneva Conventions, solitary confinement is outlawed, prolonged solitary in 16 different states. It is defined as captivity of a human being for 22 hours or more a day in a cell. Prolonged solitary confinement is universally condemned around the world as universal as torture, as a human rights violation. So anytime you keep somebody in solitary.
Funny how they're being charged with what I would consider human rights violations, and he's talking about human rights violations.
Confinement, what you're doing is you're keeping them there to break their spirit, to break their soul, and to break the psychology of the mind. It is an egregious misuse of the judicial system. And by the way, Andrew and Tristan have not been convicted of any crime. The Fifth Amendment of the United States protects them. It's not.
And in my opinion, they have them in solitary confinement for their protection. Because I would assume that people that are in this detention center may not like, people like them. So, right, Nanny, poor babies. Right, that's what I'm saying, Cheese. They're keeping them there for their own safety. He might get into this, but they're being held in 5 by 12 foot cells as, quote, political prisoners. And he's saying that their confinement is torturous. No, it's not. It's not torturous. Maybe some solitude would do them good.
Standard of cruel and unusual punishment that the Eighth Amendment gives is the Fifth Amendment person. No innocent person can be punished while they're being held for any proceeding. Innocent and proven guilty, solitary confinement is punishment. It should not.
So you know what? Then I say let the judge let him into Gen Pop. Take him out of solitary. Then what? I mean, this guy.
That happened. My understanding is we're working to get them out of there as soon as possible. But if they're left in there for reasons that we won't be able to talk about right now, I'll be sure to let you know in my Twitter post. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you all. God bless Andrew and Tristan Tate. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you in a few weeks.
See you in a few weeks. Hey, Popcorn, how are you? Thanks for being here. Patricia, good to see you. Patricia says this dude thinks he's a champion gaslighter. He's not. Yeah, there was a lot of gaslighting on it, and I get it. It's his job. He seems like he's very good at his job. It's just like, just stop with the dramatics. Hey, Doodles. Yeah, I'd say the same thing. You don't want them in solitary to protect them? Then put them in Gen Pop and see what happens. See what happens. Okay, and I think that would probably be a good, let's see. I was going to go, I think we'll go to an article from the New York Times first, and then we'll go to, I think I have 2 more clips. Like I said, I was totally thrown off guard because I thought I was going live at 7 and I scheduled it at 6:30, so I was like racing around. And Patricia says, get them into a UK prison. They wouldn't last a year with prison justice here. I don't think they would last very long in the detention center either. All right, so Tate brothers to stay in jail as new details about charges emerge. In court In court documents unsealed on Monday, British prosecutors accused the, quote, manosphere influencers of choking women, sometimes until they passed out, and then raping them. This sounds like, what was his name? That 17-year-old. He did that with those 2 girls. I mean, they are masochists. The influencer brothers, Andrew and Tristan Tate, will remain in custody as their lawyers told the court on Monday that they plan to fight extradition to England to face charges of rape, sex trafficking, and pornography, including charges related to indecent images of a child. According to federal court complaints unsealed on Monday, British officials have accused both brothers of choking women, sometimes until they passed out, and then raping them. The Tates appeared in federal court after marshals arrested them on Saturday at a bare-knuckle boxing event in downtown Miami. The 2 wore tan jail jumpsuits and shackles, speaking only to acknowledge that they had read court documents pertaining to their case. Their attorney, Joseph McBride, told reporters after the hearing that the charges were politically motivated. Andrew and Tristan are innocent, he said, calling the allegations against them, quote, garbage. Yeah, Nanny, I can't. It'll come to me. He has 3 names. The Tates have hired the high-profile South Florida law firm of Roy Black to fight the extradition. The attorneys will convene before a magistrate judge in 1 week to discuss scheduling a hearing to decide whether the brothers will remain in detention while they fight extradition. According to information provided to U.S. officials by the British government, the latest charges stem from incidents involving 4 women that occurred between July 2010 and August 2017. Andrew Tate is facing 7 counts of rape, 3 counts of sex trafficking, 3 counts of assault, and 19 more charges related to, quote, indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. In a complaint unsealed on Monday, U.S. prosecutors outlined detailed allegations made by their counterparts in Britain against Andrew Tate involving 2 victims. The document said he repeatedly placed one woman, a webcam performer, in chokeholds until she passed out, then raped her during an alleged attack at her home in Bedford, England in 2015. Another woman alleged that she had consensual sex with Andrew Tate in July 2014, according to the complaint. On another occasion, he visited her home in Manchester, England, and choked her to the point that, quote, she was afraid Tate was going to kill her, end quote. Tristan Tate is facing 1 count of sexual assault, 2 counts of rape, and 3 counts of sex trafficking. The unsealed complaint against Tristan Tate alleged that he regularly choked, beat, and raped a woman with whom he was in a romantic relationship in 2012 and 2013. She told authorities that he regularly choked her to unconsciousness, gave her a black eye, and whipped her with a belt on multiple occasions, causing welts and bruises. The brothers are prominent figures in the so-called manosphere, where they preach hypermasculinity and misogynistic views to legions of perpetually online young men. They have amassed a fortune from online pornography and self-help courses. Yes, thank you, Nanny. Jesse Butler. Jesse Butler. They have also faced criminal investigations in 3 countries. The Tates have long denied the allegations against them. They have sued one of their accusers for defamation in a Florida court, and Mr. McBride has said that case would clear their names. Danny Pinter, Chief Legal Officer at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, which is representing the woman. Let me start over. Danny Pinter, Chief Legal Officer at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, which is representing the woman whom the brothers sued on Monday, welcomed the arrest. She added that the woman and her family have been, quote, victims of a campaign of harassment and witness intimidation, end quote. I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that. And, you know, I'll have to look more into their parents because, I mean, you would think they had, I would assume they learned this behavior from somewhere. But maybe not. Maybe they're just, that's just who they are. And they fed off one another. In all, prosecutors in the UK have brought 59 charges against the brothers. British law enforcement officials had previously charged them with rape and human trafficking in relation to incidents involving 3 women between 2012 and 2015. The brothers have also been investigated in Romania for coercing dozens of women into pornography, including a 17-year-old. Andrew is also accused of rape and of having sex with These sentences are tripping me up badly today. Andrew is also accused of rape and of having sex with and beating a 15-year-old. That case remains unresolved. The brothers, who have citizenship in both the United States and the United Kingdom, have not yet returned to Britain since Romanian prosecutors lifted travel restrictions last year, the culmination of years-long effort by Andrew Tate to forge alliances with President Trump's advisors and family members, a New York Times investigation found. Britain's Home Office referred questions about the extradition to British prosecutors. Emmy is going to get the red marker on correct. No, it's not even that. It's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like they need commas or something. Because I'm always reading ahead, and so even then, like, I'm not able to actually like see what they're saying. What is VAW? Violence against women. In Florida, the state attorney general, James Othmeyer, announced an investigation into the brothers last year, but no state charges have been brought. Anti-trafficking agents at the Department of Homeland Security have also opened an investigation into the Tate brothers, according to the Times investigation. The scene outside the Miami courthouse on Monday was relatively subdued, highlighted by a sole male supporter wearing a black hooded sweatshirt and holding a cardboard sign calling the Tates heroes. So, one male supporter there. And let me just see, where does this bring me? This might be the other one. Oh, okay, so that is the other article I have. Okay, so we're going to go back to a clip, and then I think I have 2 more clips, and then we'll get to, I have 2 more articles that I wanted to take a look at. There's just so much about these people.
The Tate brothers are now
Yeah,
fighting
punctuation is
extradition
definitely
after their
lacking.
arrest
They
in
need
Miami
commas.
over the weekend. These controversial social media influencers are facing dozens of new rape and sex trafficking charges that have been brought by authorities in the UK. And that is on top of a separate case in Romania and a state criminal probe in Florida. Now, both Andrew and Tristan Tate deny any wrongdoing. Their lawyer says the latest arrests are political. Our next guest has reported on the Tate brothers for years from all over the world, with her latest piece for The New Yorker titled Andrew Tate.
And this is one of the articles that we will read today.
Empire of Abuse. I want to welcome investigative reporter Heidi Blake now for a deep dive on this. Heidi, thank you very much for your time. A thing that I often hear when you're talking about Andrew Tate is maybe you don't know who he is, but your son definitely does. These are big names in the manosphere, but can you remind our viewers how they built this massive empire and why they are also so controversial?
Who asked that question? Yes, Steph. Yes.
That's right. So Andrew Tate became famous, amassing a vast audience of young men who followed his posts on social media.
And I was just thinking that makes sense why he was banned on every social media platform except for X, because Elon Musk is a huge fan.
Yeah, in which he flaunted the fortune that he made in webcam pornography, mixing up posts about diamond watches, Bugattis, private jets, expensive cigars, all the trappings of an opulent lifestyle, with misogynistic rants and masculinist pep talks. He told young men that they were the victims of like a feminized society, which was bent on crushing their male essence and denying them what he calls their natural male imperative for power. Underneath all of that,
and Andrew Tate believes that women are a man's property and that women should do what they're told. In an interview that I watched earlier, I don't remember what the question was, but he said, if you tell a dog to do something, you expect it to do it because a dog is your property. And he was saying women need to do the same. Yeah, I know, Patricia, he is. He's a douchebag.
Is a fortune that he built by systematically exploiting women, by recruiting them and coercing them into sex work over many, many years. And that was really the bulk of what I investigated over 9 months and published recently in The New Yorker.
So what are the details of all of these different charges? 2 countries and investigation. Can you break them all down and how they're connected?
Hey,
yeah, so Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan were arrested in Romania in 2022 on human trafficking charges. That was after a US citizen was recruited and brought out to their compound in Romania, where they had been running their online pornography empire for many years. While she was there, she raised the alarm. She sent messages back to family members and a friend at home saying she felt she was being trafficked. They alerted the US Embassy, who alerted local authorities, and the Tate compound was raided. That was when the Romanian case started under the Biden administration, following pressure from the US Embassy to tackle these guys. They'd actually relocated to Romania some years earlier after initially starting their webcam pornography business in the UK, but they skipped the country after being accused of rape and strangulation by a number of women in the UK, some of whom had been some of their earliest webcam workers. Now, British police failed to investigate properly those women's allegations. They let that case lie dormant for years and ultimately shut it down. But they have now launched a fresh investigation into allegations from a number of other women that the brothers raped them, strangled them during sex, and in many cases trafficked them. And so that case, they were charged in that case a couple of years ago, but the British authorities have been waiting.
Right, the Tate compound. You couldn't make this up. And they're so pompous. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Like when they walk out of those doors, they're just so pompous, arrogant. Like, and they're not even good looking. Maybe that's their problem.
Waiting on the Romanian case to run its course. And now the latest development is that the British police have added 38 new charges to that case. Those charges involve further charges of rape and trafficking, but also charges relating to making child pornography. And that's the basis on which they've sought the Tate brothers' extradition now from the United States.
Now, as these allegations have come out, and they are, of course, horrifying allegations, we also know that the Tate brothers have remained incredibly popular What's been the reaction from their followers as this is all?
Okay, so Steph, I did see your question. So Steph had asked, have they always had money? So I wasn't sure. So I looked it up. And it says, no, the Tate brothers have not always had money. They grew up in a relative poverty in the UK and built their initial wealth in their 20s through kickboxing, webcam studios, and online subscription businesses. Their financial background and rise to wealth can be broken down into a few key stages. Raised by their mother on a council estate in Luton, England, following their parents' divorce, the brothers have frequently spoken about growing up with very limited financial means. In their early careers, both Andrew and Tristan were professional kickboxers, but they have stated that the sport did not provide significant financial stability. Their first major breakthrough came from setting up a webcam business, which grew into a large-scale adult entertainment operation. So they made their money on pornography. Think Cornhub, only not Cornhub. They later parlayed those earnings into cryptocurrency investments in highly lucrative subscription-based online communities and courses like, quote, Hustlers University, now rebranded as, quote, The Real World. Luton, thank you. Luton. Oh, Luton, like gluten. Gotcha. Right. Hustlers University. Like, talk about douchebags. Like, what? So it goes on to say, today, while the brothers have amassed millions, their finances have faced significant scrutiny, including court orders in the UK permitting police to seize millions in unpaid taxes from their online businesses and ongoing legal proceedings in Romania.
All played out.
Well, they still have a large fan base online, and there are a lot of particularly young male fans who are coming out and saying that these guys are the victims of a political smear campaign. That's something that since the very first days after their arrest, the Tate brothers have strenuously argued. It's very much at odds, I have to say, with their online pronouncements over many, many years. Not just in private. I mean, I studied thousands of their private messages with each other, with their associates, with some of the women who say they were victimized by the Tate brothers, but also in hours and hours of video that they made for an online men's network they called The War Room, where they taught young men how to recruit women into online sex work and in the way that.
Can you imagine? Like, the whole thing, the whole premise was to teach young men how to recruit women into sex work. And it actually, I was thinking, because they talked about in that, what I just saw, they talked about the mom. So I looked up the dad, and it says Andrew and Tristan Tate's father, Emery, was an international master of chess and a prominent figure in the U.S. chess community. While known for his intellectual brilliance, he held unconventional views on gender dynamics and relationships. He expressed beliefs that men have a right to cheat and wrote posts about the necessity of keeping women subservient and the permissibility of striking women for, quote, disrespect. Andrew Tate has frequently credited his father as the primary influence for his own worldview on male-female dynamics and hypermasculinity. Oh, it says you can read more about his father's documented views on gender, and Andrew Tate's dad wrote about hitting women on Facebook, or explore Andrew's ideological background in the Andrew Tate Extremis file. I'm going to have to look more into this stuff. Like, there's a lot. There is a lot.
They had done. In those videos, they described themselves as pimps. They described how they recruited women and coerced them into sex work, how they controlled them, how they isolated them, how they withheld the money that they made from these women, how they didn't let them go out unattended or have relationships with other men or be connected with friends and family. So this is something they've described doing pretty openly over many years. But since their arrest in Romania, they've been arguing that all of that was just an online performance for entertainment. None of it was real, and that these charges against them are a backlash against them because of the masculinist ideology that they've been so central in promoting.
But so
And I did see, whose comment was it? London Girl had asked how many young men have been influenced by these deviants. So I looked that up as well. I love that you're asking questions because, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of time today. Like, I was watching stuff, reading stuff. So more than 160,000 to 200,000 students, primarily young men and teenagers, enrolled in Hustlers University, an online academy and subscription-based community run by controversial internet personalities Andrew and Tristan Tate. Because it operated as a decentralized online network rather than a traditional physical school, the exact number fluctuates, but reports consistently highlight a massive user base. Additionally, reports indicate that while the majority of the audience is compromised, oh my gosh, I cannot speak today. All right, let me just take a breath here. What is going on today? Okay, let me restart that sentence. Additionally, reports indicate that while the majority of the audience is comprised of young adults, the platform's reach has extended to include younger teenagers. And it looks like, oh, so it actually sends you to the New Yorker article that I am going to read momentarily. Oh, wait, what's this? Neighbors give details about Andrew Tate's Hustlers University. Let's go to this and see what it says. This is from the New York Post. All right, let's see. So neighbors revealed details about Andrew Tate's sordid Hustlers University. And this was from January 2nd, 2023. Dozens of American and British teens traveled to Andrew Tate's swank Romanian compound to attend his Hustlers University, which was reportedly added to Google Maps so they wouldn't get lost. Are you kidding me? So, teenagers traveled to Romania. Neighbors of the controversial influencer's sprawling high-security compound told the Times of London that during the summer, hordes of 18 and 19-year-old men began showing up there where women worked around-the-clock shifts producing porn videos. All right, go away, Flo. Come on. How do I get rid of that? I mean, come on, New York Post. How are people supposed to read your stuff with these ads in the way? There were groups arriving 3 or 4 times a week. Sometimes there were 3 taxis a day, a neighbor said of the misogynist's Mecca, which offered supposed instruction on how to get rich quickly outside the capital, Bucharest. They were young men. They say they were attending the Hustlers University. A neighbor also said they would get lost and ask how they could find the Hustlers University. I don't know what they were doing inside. The location was eventually added to Google Maps so taxi drivers could find it. Tate, a 36-year-old former world kickboxing champ and British Big Brother participant, was arrested Thursday for allegedly running an organized crime group that trafficked women and forced them to create porn, quote, meant to be seen on specialized websites for a cost, end quote. Look at this douche. Like, oh my God, look at that blade. Yeah, cult alert. Brainwashing. Oh, this is at his Romanian home. The women were allegedly kept under house arrest with videos of one victim suspected to have generated nearly $55,000 a month while she was paid nothing. Tate has reportedly said that the women kept 80 to 85% of the income from their videos and that, quote, most of the girls ended up being multimillionaires, end quote. Yeah, okay. Tate was busted along with his brother Tristan, 34, and 2 alleged female accomplices during a raid on the compound where cash and guns were allegedly seized. Neighbors said at least 8 to 10 women appeared in videos during constant rotating shifts inside. You could see the women inside working on the video cameras. There were women there 24 hours a day. The number of women reportedly dropped after police raided the compound in April. Tate bought the building in 2016 for roughly 180,000 British pounds, or about $217,000. The controversial social media figure, who has been called the king of toxic masculinity, reportedly had additions built and also bought an adjoining property during the summer. In addition to allegedly hosting the crooked porn operation, the converted storage facility reportedly serves as Tate's home and private gym and is registered as a shooting range, which allows guards to carry weapons. Oh, so here's his surveillance. He's got all these cameras going. Yeah, a pair of toxic gobshites. Agreed. Yeah, rotating shifts. Chi says, anybody can control a woman's body, but to control her mind is something special. Iceberg Slim pimp author. Yeah, it does, Steph. It reminds you of Epstein. And as I said, earlier in the live stream, I have not been able to find, there's no link between the Tate brothers and Epstein, only the Tate brothers and Trump. Hey, Joe, thanks for stopping in, even though you can't hear me because you're rewinding. Hopefully you'll hear me before you rewind. Ugh, they're so gross. On Sunday, 2 security guards were stationed there and surveillance cameras were visible around the building. Several luxury cars, including an Aston Martin Vanquish and a Porsche 911, were parked outside. Some of the pricey rides had British vanity plates beginning with T8. Oh, Tate. Clever. The website for Tate's Hustlers University 3.0 claims it has more than 168,000 members who pay $49 a month to learn how to make money online. All right, let me just do some math quick. So 168, so 49, hold on, 49 times 12 times, oh wait, it would be 49 times, yeah, 12. And then times 168,000 times 168,000. $98,784,000. So that is assuming that if those 168,000 members were members, so that's 1 year. If all of those members were members the entire year, that would generate $98,784,000. The math isn't right. What am I doing wrong? Okay. All right, let's see. It also says the cost will increase to $147 a month after 170,000 people sign up to get rich quickly. Wow. So if they were to get another 2,000 people, they were going to jack the price up. They were going to like triple it almost. Patricia says, I think they made 18 million on that. Yeah, and I was using, if they were members every single month, though every single member was a member for 12 months in a year. And that none of them, stopped. As a Hustlers University student, you have no more excuses to live the life of a slave. No excuse to not consistently be making money, not a single one. At the time of their arrest, the Tate brothers were preparing to host a New Year's Eve party at a 48-room mansion in the mountain village of Komarnik, about 80 miles north of Bucharest. They reportedly bought the century-old mansion about a year ago. after it was modernized to include an underground garage and swimming pool. Neighbors said household staffers told them the place was owned by, quote, famous American sportsmen, end quote. Okay, so I'm going to skip the rest. I will share this link in chat if anyone wants to read the rest, but I think we got a good summary of their doings in Romania. All right, what is happening with this? There we go. Patricia says there's footage of these classes somewhere online. They're wild. I did see, I saw a part of one of them, and he was like, that Andrew, like he was like just wild. Wild.
So much of your reporting, Heidi, was about the connections potentially between the Trump administration and the Tate brothers. It is an incredibly detailed report. Your New Yorker article, I would encourage everyone to read that. Heidi Blake, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And we want to dig a little deeper on this, so we're going to bring in legal analyst and trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer for more. So Brian, as this is playing out, we've heard from lawyers for the Tate brothers, and they argue, amongst other things, that extraditing them to the UK would then interfere with their other cases, essentially saying the fact that they're facing all these different things complicates the matter. What do you make of that argument?
Sure. Personally, I don't think it's the strongest of arguments, but I think the way in which extradition can be defeated.
Yes, that is true, Steph. Although it's interesting because some are saying it could be low as 10 million. So as of April 2026, Andrew Tate's net worth is anywhere between $10 million and several hundred million. So I'm guessing they don't know because he does a lot of shady stuff. I mean, some have said, others claim that he's worth $710 million. And that's just Andrew, not Tristan. That's insane.
From a legal standpoint, it makes sense. And this is what I mean by that. If you break it into two different categories, one being the arguments you make with the judge as a defense attorney, you're arguing either there's not a valid treaty, you're arguing insufficient evidence, as in there's no probable cause, or you're arguing that the crime that exists in the other country that wants your client does not exist in this country. But I think what you're hearing from Joseph McBride, the defense attorney for the Tate brothers, falls more in terms of the discretionary reasons why the Secretary of State has the power to deny extradition, that it might be of political motivation or against a U.S. national interest. And I think the arguments that you're hearing there in terms of the interference with other cases, as well as the political motivation, that's for an audience of one that they're hoping can pull the plug on this extradition before it even starts.
Obviously, they're still under investigation in Florida, and I'm sure that the letter of the law says that being charged elsewhere should not have any influence on an investigation over here. But does the fact that they're facing charges in two different countries have any kind of influence in a criminal probe here in the United States?
I think it really depends on what judge you ask and whether you're asking the judge in Florida or you're asking the judge in Romania or in the United Kingdom. I think each one of those judges will take precedence of their own case and say, hey, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I can't imagine a judge saying because there's a probe here in the United States, in the state of Florida specifically, and they're being requested of allegations in the UK, that they're going to put a pause on their case or that's going to interfere in any way, shape, or form. I do think it does become an issue if he is indicted, though, or both brothers are indicted, and you have to defend and has to go back and forth between the different countries. I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think one case will obviously resolve first, and then depending on the outcome there, then they'll go to the different jurisdiction. But to answer your question plainly and simply, no, I don't think that one case will impact the other in a way that will pause or degrade the proceedings.
Cannot overstate how influential these two brothers are, particularly with young men. Okay, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you very much for your time.
It's scary. It is scary. Okay, so let's see. I have one more clip, I think. Yep, one more, and then we'll get to, I have two articles that I'm going to read. She says, my prediction is they'll get hefty fine, community service, and some home arrest. Hey, KCG, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in, even though you're going to be listening in the bushes. Oh, so this is this clip has to do with, I had asked on my thumbnail, will President Trump intervene? Because he intervened, well, his administration intervened to lift the travel ban on the Tate brothers in Romania. And as soon as that was done, they came to the States. So, some things I've heard is why is Trump allowing them to be arrested now? And will he intervene? Will he, do whatever he likes to do, because Mar-a-Lago, many believe the reason they went to Florida is because that's where Mar-a-Lago is.
Andrew and Tristan Tate are currently in federal custody in Florida after a court ruled they will remain detained while they fight extradition to the United Kingdom. The brothers, high-profile supporters of Donald Trump and self-described misogynists, we have photos of them we can show you, are prominent members of the manosphere who use their influence to promote male dominance. And it's allegedly more than just words, according to newly unsealed federal filings that detail the charges being brought by UK prosecutors between 2010 and 2017. The brothers are also accused of choking women, sometimes until they passed out, and then raping them. They also face accusations of trafficking women. Their attorney, Joseph McBride, says that Marco Rubio and the rest of the Trump administration are not fans of, quote, prosecuting people for free speech, and he hopes the administration will intervene.
Oh, so Marco Rubio says, unbelievable. It's free speech. It's free speech to traffic women and girls and, force them to do things they didn't ask to do because you choke them and suffocate them. Okay.
We are, of course, objecting to extradition because Andrew and Tristan are innocent. They've never done nothing wrong. They shouldn't be extradited for crimes they did not commit. Politically motivated? I think any one of these trees or any one of these rocks could answer that question. Yes, it's politically motivated. There's no question about it.
This is not the first round of allegations. Romanian prosecutors have been investigating the brothers
Exactly,
since 2022, accusing them of forming an organized crime group and trafficking women. Here they are. Andrew Tate also faced rape charges there, though a court threw out that case. Now the UK's Crown Prosecution Service says they're seeking extradition for the brothers. The question now is, will the Trump administration intervene like the lawyer wants? As the New Yorker reports, the Tates have an in through Donald Trump.
That's who I forgot to mention. Charlie Kirk was also a supporter of the Tates, and there was one more person. I don't think I wrote them down. I don't think I did. There was somebody else that was mentioned because there was Barron Trump, Don Jr., President Trump, Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, and it was a name that I didn't recognize, and unfortunately I didn't write it down.
Trump's sons, Andrew Tate forged relationships with Barron and Donald Trump Jr. in the weeks before the 2024 vote, as Andrew Tate pushed pro-MAGA content and helped mobilize young men in big numbers for Trump. Kamala Harris even credited Tate as a key factor in her defeat. And it was after Trump's inauguration that Andrew Tate predicted he would get past these.
Oh, so back in 2025, Andrew Tate wrote, "The Tates will be free. Trump is the president. The good old days are back, and they will be better than ever. Hold on." Heart emoji.
Charges, posting on X, quote, "The Tates will be free. Trump is the president." Since the election and inauguration, the Tates have been running in the same circles as other Trump allies. Just days before their arrest, the brothers were at a party for Paolo Zampoli, Trump's special envoy for global partnerships. And Vice President J.D. Vance follows both Andrew and Tristan on X. They are just two of 1,500 people that the vice president follows on the platform. Not very.
That's interesting. So Vice President Vance follows 1,500 people on X. Two of them are both Tate brothers.
money follows there. Despite those connections, the State Department says they have no plans to act on behalf of the Tate brothers. But with Donald Trump's pardon track record, it is fair to ask, will those plans change?
Yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So let's go, I'm going to go to the New York Times first. Just because it kind of segues from, the clip where we talked about President Trump. And then we'll get to the New Yorker. All right, so how a Manosphere star accused of rape and trafficking was freed. So this is going back to what happened in Romania. Forging a relationship with Baron Trump in my world is called... I mean, they're all misogynists. President Trump is. I mean, just the way he speaks. Ship them back and let the crown have them. Yeah, Doodles. This is sick. Sick stuff. All right, I read that. Okay. Days before Donald J. Trump's return to the White House, Andrew Tate got some good news. Mr. Tate and his brother Tristan, swaggering influencers in the so-called Manosphere, had been under criminal investigation in Romania since 2022, accused of coercing women into pornography. Andrew was also accused of rape and of having sex with and beating a 15-year-old. The brothers, American and British citizens, had been barred from leaving Romania while prosecutors built their case. Now, in a January 14th text message, Mr. Tate indicated that help was on the way. Quote, I had word from the Trump admin that they're on top of things, Mr. Tate wrote to someone close to him in a message reviewed by the New York Times. I've been told I'll be free soon, but Trump needs to see me in Miami. The next month, an extraordinary order came down from the highest levels of the Romanian government. The prosecutors were told to find a compromise with the Tates. Despite their misgivings, they lifted the travel restrictions, a move that Romania's prime minister thought would appease the Trump administration. Yeah, Doodles, I wonder how he would feel if if his daughters were treated the way that these women are. And, he'd probably say, oh, that would never happen. Never say never. Let's see. I have not JS. Let me write that down. I did see, because he was cast on Big Brother in Britain. They did say that he decided to leave because this video surfaced of him beating a woman, like beating her. I did see that, which was, I wish I hadn't. Let me just write that down. Okay, so we're massively back, a grinning Mr. Tate announced in a video recorded for his followers on February 27th as a private plane whisked the brothers to Florida. Mind you, this is in 2025. Their arrival in the United States opened a rare rift among conservatives and raised suspicions over whether the White House had intervened. The Times found that support from Trump administration officials played a crucial role. And Governor DeSantis did say that the Tates were not welcome in Florida. Interviews with dozens of people in Romania, the United States, and Britain, as well as a review of hundreds of pages of court documents and private messages, offer the fullest account yet of how the Tates rose from a fringe corner of the internet to become a cause celebre on the right. The brothers' release from Romania was the culmination of a years-long effort by Andrew to forge alliances with Mr. Trump's advisors and family members. The Tates have helped propel a brazenly chauvinistic movement around the world, even as they racked up allegations of human trafficking and physical violence in multiple countries. They deny criminal wrongdoing. But Andrew, 39, and Tristan, 37, have boasted about recruiting women to make lucrative sexual content and have sold courses teaching young men how to follow in their footsteps. Oh, this might be something to watch later. Anthony Dream Johnson. That's an interesting name. Anthony Dream. As his notoriety grew, Andrew Tate shrewdly courted Tucker Carlson and other media stars of the right, who in turn tapped into the brothers' loyal following to expand their own reach. Tucker Carlson was the other name I couldn't remember. Tucker Carlson was also a staunch supporter. Andrew also nurtured relationship with Donald Trump Jr. and his younger brother Barron, who recognized the role that young male voters could play in their father's return to power. Barron, now 19, admired Andrew and spoke with him over Zoom last year, according to Justin Waller, a mutual friend who was on the call. During the call, they discussed their shared belief that the Romanian criminal case was an effort to silence the Tates. After Mr. Trump's re-election, some of the Tates' supporters ascended into the new administration. One of them, the diplomatic envoy Richard Grenell, twice discussed their case with Romanian officials. Within days of the second conversation, the Romanian prosecutors received their marching orders and handed the Tates the freedom to travel, after long arguing that the brothers were a public danger and a flight risk. The prosecutors were outraged, according to people familiar with the matter, who requested anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss it. This is I can see this is a really long article. I'm not sure if I'm going to read the whole thing, but we'll see. Like, I'm not even a quarter down the page. The brothers' liberation rattled many American diplomats who feared a shadowy new era of foreign relations, and it prompted hostility from many traditional conservatives, from Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis to the commentator Megyn Kelly, who said, quote, "This actually is toxic masculinity." Some liken the Tates to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. I would say they're just like him. They're just a lot younger. Their return also led to a new assault allegation from a girlfriend who said Andrew beat and strangled her shortly after his arrival in the United States. Prosecutors declined to bring charges, but she has filed a lawsuit against him and has been granted a restraining order. He is suing her for defamation. In a statement to the Times, the Romanian prosecutor's office said that the country's constitution requires them to operate independently and that their actions in the Tates' case have been legal. Marcel Ciolacu, who was the prime minister when the Tates were released, did not respond to requests for comment. An official with the White House said it has no knowledge of it and is not involved in anything related to the Tates' legal matters. The official did not respond to questions about Barron. Donald Trump Jr. did not respond to a request for comment. The Tates' lawyer said the Times findings about Andrew and Barron were, quote, fake news. After more than 2 years of confinement, the brothers have used their newfound freedom to resume their jet-setting lifestyle and juice their brand. They have visited Kanye West, partied poolside with beautiful women, and promoted their business to chanting fans. "I'm in Dubai. I'm still rich. All I do is win," Andrew said in a video posted in April that shows him driving off in a Bugatti. But their legal problems haven't gone away. The Romanian case is moving forward, and once it's finished, the brothers will face charges of human trafficking and rape in Britain. And in the United States, the Times found anti-trafficking agents at the Department of Homeland Security have been investigating the Tates for years, which I find interesting because now that Trump is in office, I would think he would tell, DHS to stop investigating them. It's interesting. Very interesting. All right, so I'll just read a little bit more of this. Andrew Tate found modest fame as a professional kickboxer in the 2010s, But as he tells it, he didn't start making real money until he and his brother went into pornography. Well, of course, because there's a lot of money in human trafficking. By 2015, the Tates had installed women in apartments in a hotel room in Britain to perform live on webcams for paying customers. Andrew later described how the brothers romanced attractive women, coaxed them into the business, and took most of the profits. It's not just about picking up girls, Mr. Tate said in an interview posted to YouTube. It's about converting them into really loving you enough to moving in with you and working for you and giving you all the money. So they prey on women, make them fall in love with them. Scum. Both brothers had run-ins with the British police. Tristan was arrested in 2014 after a woman reported he had assaulted her. The next year, Andrew was arrested 3 times, the police said. One woman who had worked for him said in court documents that he strangled her during sex. Another said he had raped, beaten, and pulled a gun on her. A third woman said he had raped and strangled her while they were dating. Authorities did not charge either brother, but Andrew said the scrutiny prompted him to leave Britain. One day, he recalled on a podcast years later, he woke up and said, quote, "I will not live under a government that will do this to me when I've done nothing wrong." He and Tristan moved to Romania, a country they had gotten to know through the professional fighting circuit. There, Andrew said on another show, quote, "You can get away with shit you can get away with shit you can't get away with in the West." So there you go. They moved there because they knew, they thought nothing would happen. With Romania as their new home base, the brothers ran their webcam business from there and in Britain. When Andrew was cast for the British reality show Big Brother in 2016, few knew about his business or the assault allegations. He was soon fired, however, after a tabloid obtained a video of him whipping a girlfriend with a belt. They both said it was consensual. To me, it didn't seem like it was consensual. The scandal boosted his fame, especially on social media, where he became a fierce supporter of Mr. Trump. Donald Trump Jr. liked one of his supportive Twitter posts, and they soon agreed to meet. Mr. Tate recalled in a podcast. He went to Trump Tower in 2017. "We still inbox each other every couple of days," Mr. Tate said on the podcast in 2018. By 2022, he and Tristan had gained millions of followers by preaching mental and physical discipline, entrepreneurship, and the subjugation of women. They had expanded the porn business to TikTok, OnlyFans, and other platforms, and were selling their courses to young men. One offering was called PhD for, quote, pimping hose degrees. Degree, I should say. Over the previous 8 years, they had earned at least £21 million, nearly $28 million, according to records from a British court that found they had evaded taxes. JS says he invites his 6 girlfriends to his house to find out about each other, drops his web porn idea. I think 2 stayed. Yeah, it's gross. It's so gross. When Andrew was kicked off several social media platforms and decried by high school teachers, it only increased his notoriety. He became one of the most searched people on Google. In December 2022, the brothers were arrested in Romania and, with court approval, jailed for 3 months. Prosecutors later charged them with forming an organized criminal group and trafficking 7 women, and charged Andrew with rape. The 360-page sealed indictment obtained by the Times said the Tates had tricked the women into believing they were in long-term relationships, then coerced them into pornographic work. The brothers had put them under surveillance, restricted their movements, and docked their pay if they cried on camera or broke other rules. Text messages cited in the indictment show Andrew Tate and one woman discussing what would happen if she went to Romania. Woman, do you want me to be your slave or your wife? Andrew, you'll do whatever I tell you, which is the same thing. If I choose a woman to be my wife, she'll love me enough to let me tell her what I feel like. I will decide if she's a slave. What? So she went. When she arrived, he raped her twice, on one occasion forcing her into group sex. Andrew choked another woman so hard that blood vessels in her eye burst. In a text message chat titled Pimps, Tristan and two associates discussed how to punish a woman who said she would no longer work for them. Tristan, the move now is as follows. Associate 1, okay. Tristan, both of you go, get her out of the house. Associate 2, okay. Tristan Tate, hit her if you have to, I don't care. Don't let her take her things. Associate 2, thanks, okay. The woman was pushed down and dragged out of the house, she and witnesses told prosecutors. Romania, long known as a hub for sex trafficking, has expanded prosecutions to include so-called lover boy cases based on romance, psychological coercion, and threats. The indictment against the Tates acknowledged that two of the women cited as victims said they didn't see themselves that way. Prosecutors said evidence showed that they were. Well, they were probably scared and brainwashed and afraid they were going to get beat or even killed. Press releases announcing the arrest, the indictment, and the ensuing restrictions on the Tates movement made headlines around the world. But Mr. Tate, facing the prospect of prison, didn't retreat from the controversy. He used it. Okay, so this kind of goes into other stuff. So Tucker to Barron. Let me just see what else this has. There's Barron right there. Okay, so this is all about the Trump administration. So I'm going to skip that part. That would probably be a whole nother live stream to go through. So I will drop the link. If you have a subscription to New York Times, you can read it. I don't think you can read it without it. And so there was just one last thing that I wanted to look at, but this looks like it's very long too. This is very long. I wanted to go through this New Yorker article. So I think because this has a lot to do with the Trump administration as well, I think I'm going to keep this article for the next live stream. So, because I want to look into more, like a lot of you had questions about the parents, you had questions about, you know, different things. I want to be able to look at some more interviews to maybe have direct quotes by them, because like I said, I've been able to find a lot on Andrew. Andrew seems like the leader of the operation. He's more vocal, whereas Tristan kind of, like, I guess maybe lays low a little bit. But I didn't somebody's coughing. I didn't look too much. So I definitely want to see if I can find anything else related to that. Cheese says, I'd be surprised if they get any time. It's their first time in trouble and they have friends in very high places. Right. And it's their first time in trouble, so to speak. But yeah, they've gotten away with stuff probably their entire lives. Yeah, Doodle, sounds like they were raised this way since the dad holds the belief about women. And I want to look at, because the one article that I had read about the dad had a link to a Facebook post. So I want to look deeper into that to see, you know, about their dad. I'm guessing they probably treated their mom like shit. And that's who they lived with. Oh, that's true, KCG. Any public library will have a free copy of the newspaper. Yeah, and that the article I just read was from December 11th, 2025. So not even a year ago. Patricia says they will have the support of the upper echelons of the Old Boys Club. Yep. All right, y'all. Well, I do appreciate you being here. Oh my God. And I didn't realize it's almost 2 hours. Like, it goes quick when, you know, I mean, I find this interesting, even though it's gross and disgusting. And I hate that there's people like this in the world. I think it's important that we talk about it because, in my opinion, this seems like a distraction away from the Epstein files. Everything is a distraction. Granted, it's a distraction that needs to happen because these two men need to face a judge for their crimes. They need to, you know, they need to prove themselves innocent until proven guilty. So, you know, but I think it was Doodles that had said earlier, if there's images that were found on their devices, like, that's proof that they did what they did. I mean, sure, they can say, oh, it wasn't me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Doodles, I don't, excuse me, I don't know. I can't even imagine what the mom went through. And it makes you wonder, like, why did the mom take the boys and not the dad? I mean, I guess the dad was, you know, in the Air Force, so maybe he traveled a lot, but it's weird that. But then again, you know, moms usually get custody, I guess. All right, y'all. Well, thanks so much for being here. I do appreciate it. If you haven't hit that like button, please remember to do so on your way out. If you are watching on the replay, #replay, leave a comment below. And tomorrow's Wednesday. So tomorrow is Wordsy Wednesday. So that is at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope that you can make it. We are hoping to beat level 14. Last week wasn't a great week. We did good the first game, and then the second two was kind of a wash. So Wordsy Wednesday tomorrow, and then Thursday, I think I will do an updates live, because if you remember the case of Luciano Fredolin, who he is the dad who was traveling with his daughter from Canada, and on their way back to Canada, he claimed that a white van kidnapped his daughter. Turns out he's the one who killed his daughter. And so his trial started yesterday. Yesterday, they were able to seat 5 jurors. Today, jury selection resumed. I haven't been able to look at the update on that yet. But there's updates in that. There's an update in, you know, I still have stuff that I wanted to show about the Siders case. I feel like I need to, like, get a little more focused. There's just so many things I want to talk about. And then I lose sight of the things that, you know, we had talked about before. So I think Thursday will be an update live, and then we'll definitely have another live in regards to the Tates once I can get some more information together. No, I haven't seen, Cash hasn't been here in a bit. I haven't seen him over here in a little bit. All right, y'all. Well, have a great night. And until next time, I will see y'all on the flip side.